Hi everybody, and welcome to Sew Along with Jan. So in the month of March of 2024, I decided that we should do some Easter projects, and we're going to work on the live project. We're going to be making this really cute little basket. It's a sewn basket with some embroidery on all four sides. So we're going to be doing this, okay? But I thought we really needed to have something to go in it, and I made these little personalized bunnies some years ago. It's been quite a while ago, and this is what we're going to put in our basket. So I wanted to make something that was personalized with some heat transfer vinyl. We haven't done heat transfer vinyl for a really long time, so I thought this would be a fun little easy project just so that we could personalize some bunnies. Now these little bunnies I got them at Walmart. They were very inexpensive. They had several different colors. I have this kind of lavender colored one. And then the one we're going to be doing in the video is kind of a cream color, but then we're going to be putting some personalization on it. So for kids or for family members, it's fun to put their name on things. So I put the name on the ears and I cut it out of glitter heat transfer vinyl. Okay. And then I also wanted the words Happy Easter. I wanted the quote Happy Easter on here. So this is also done in glitter vinyl. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this, use the scan and cut, and I'm going to show you how to make the name, and we're going to trace this from a picture that I have provided for you. So in the description below this video, you will find a link to any of the little things that you would need to do this project. So again, the little bunny came from Walmart, but then I will have this JPEG image so that you can put this into your scan and cut, print it off, put it into your scan and cut to trace it. Because I thought I wanted to make it a really simple, easy project. And I thought the easiest way to do this would be to do this in the machine. Okay, so we're going to make this cute little bunny and put some personalization on it. Okay, so let me get the little bunny out of our way here temporarily. And we're going to, whoops, I got to find a place to put him. And we're going to start by doing, we're going to do the Happy Easter part of it first. And hopefully you'll be able to see, okay, I'm sorry, it's a little bit bright in here today for the scan and cut. The scan and cut's always a little hard to see the screen because of the glare, but hopefully it'll be okay. That looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I took the JPEG image that I'm going to provide for you, and I just printed it off on a piece of paper. And this is my scanning mat. I like my scanning mat to scan things in because it's just got the little flipper on it, and I like to scan with this. I seem like I get better scans maybe. I don't know if it's because it holds the glare down because of the little flip plastic piece on there, but I do like I like the scanning mats real well. So this is done on the scanning mat. Okay, so I'm going to pull this back and we're going to load this in here. I'll pull it back a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. Hopefully my camera is on okay. And we're just going to load this in. So what we're doing now is we're going to create the Happy Easter graphic that we can cut out. So what we're going to do first, get up here and let me get my little stylus here. We're going to go up here to pattern. I'm sorry, we're going to go up here to scan first. And I'm not going to direct cut this. I don't want to cut this out of this piece of paper. I want to scan to cut data. So I'm going to scan this so that I can make data to cut it out of something else. In this case, heat transfer vinyl. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scan to cut data. And then it gives you a couple of choices of either black and white, or if you hit the little wrench, you can go into color. And it also gives you the scan area, which is 12 by 12. You can make that smaller, but it's kind of in the middle of that area, so I'm just going to leave it alone. And I'm going to leave it on black and white. So we'll hit OK. And I'm going to hit start. So it's going to go ahead and start one more time. Maybe. There we go. And we're going to scan this picture in so that we can create a design. Now there's lots of other ways to do this. And I considered doing this in software because I've got like 3 different versions of software that I could do this in, and we could do it in the machine. And this is actually the fastest way, I think, and you don't have to use software. If you're not comfortable with using software, we can just use the machine. And I personally love to do it this way, and I had the JPEG image that I could give you. So, okay, so here's our Happy Easter. There's different ways of tracing this. So we can trace just the outside, which is the first one. We can do the inside and the outside, which in this case is probably what we need, because we need to have all of the insides of the letters here as well. And then this one here is another way of tracing intricate designs. So we'll probably use the second one today. I think that'll be fine for this. So I'm going to touch the second button, and I'm going to crop up around the words so that we're basically just going to be worried about just the words Happy Easter. Okay, well, it looks pretty good actually. I'm going to hit preview. And this machine does a very good job of scanning, by the way. And I've done a lot of stuff with just the machine. I find I almost get better scans with the machine than I do by using software. So, or tracings, I should say. So I really like to use the machine. So here's our Happy Easter. That looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the way it looks, actually. We're going to hit OK. And it's done. We're traced. That is it. So I'm going to save this into my machine. So I'm going to hit the machine icon. You could save it back to a USB if you wanted also. And it's going to save it. And then it's going to tell us what number it is. And in this case, it's number 66 on my machine. So just remember that number so when we go to find it. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm just going to hit the house button and go back to the beginning and hit OK. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and unload this mat and set it over here. And then let's go ahead and get this design ready to cut. We're also going to cut some letters, and we're going to use the letters right in the machine. So let's go ahead and cut this. I'm going to go ahead and retrieve the data then, because I want to find my design. And remember, we saved it in the machine. And since I know it's the last item, it's going to be, if I hit the double arrows, it's going to take me all the way to the bottom. And here's my Happy Easter right here. Okay, so I'm just going to hit OK. Or hit that button, I should say, hit the Happy Easter and have it come up on the screen. So I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to look at this a little bit. Now, sometimes when you scan these, now you can see it's in multiple pieces, so just be careful not to move it. Sometimes when I look at this on the screen, I'll notice that the design looks darker in some areas. So sometimes when you trace like the inside and the outside of things, it'll actually give you a double scan. And in this case, I'm looking at this, and you may not be able to see it horribly well on the screen, but as I'm looking at this, it looks very much the same color all around. So I'm pretty positive that it's okay. So I'm just going to touch a few places. There's the biggest piece. So like if I grab this and pull it over here, can you see that there's just the inside of the rest of the words, which is what I wanted. So if I hit edit at this point and undo, it'll put it back to where it was. So I'm pretty sure that that's just the tracing I want. I'm going to go ahead and go to Object Edit then. And I am going to go to, actually, you know what? I have to get the red boxes first. So we're going to go to the red boxes. I'm going to select all, which is the one on the right. This is the selection area. See, now you can see all the little pieces. There's all these little red pieces here. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to go back to Object Edit at this point and click Unite or Group. So we're going to group that so it's all in one piece, so I don't have to worry about moving something by accident. Okay? So there is our Happy Easter. Well, I know on my bunny, I have to get my measurement here. I know on my bunny, the ears are not like overly large, so I need the height of my Happy Easter to be about 2 inches for it to fit nicely on the ear. I just kind of measured it, and that's what I do. So if you get different bunnies than what I have, you may have to measure your ears to see, you know, about how big it could be. So mine needs to be about 2 inches high. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go up here to this top icon, which is the size. And right now it is 5.42 inches high, which is pretty big. So we're going to just, if I don't touch any of these buttons down here, I'm just going to hit the negative on the height, and I'm going to bring it down to 2 inches. That means the width will come down in aspect ratio, and then everything will be in it. I think it ends up being about 2 3/4. So we'll go down to 2 inches in the height. Okay, yeah, 2 3/4 inches long. Okay, so it's about, it's not just a little over being square. All right, so there's our Happy Easter in the size we want it for our bunny. So I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to hit OK one more time. Actually, no, I'm not. This is going to be in heat transfer vinyl. Now, when you cut heat transfer vinyl, I'm going to do one more thing yet. This is the front of the heat transfer vinyl. This is the pretty side. Okay. We're actually going to be putting this face down on the mat and cutting it from the back. So when you cut heat transfer vinyl, you're actually cutting it from the back. So we need to mirror this first before we cut it. So I'm going to hit the mirror button, which is the 2 little arrows pointing at each other, and it's going to flip it over. Okay. And it doesn't matter where I put this. I'm just going to put my heat transfer vinyl down on my mat, and then we'll scan it. So I'm going to hit OK now. I'm going to hit OK one more time because I want to get to this screen where I can do the scanning. So give me a second here. I'm going to get my mat. And we're going to put this piece, I wanted to make my Happy Easter in this kind of light pink. So I'm going to put this on my mat, and it doesn't matter where you put it, just put it on your mat. I am using my brayer to do that, to make sure. And I'm putting it with the shiny side, which is, there's like a carrier sheet on heat transfer vinyl. The shiny side is down along the mat, and then this dull back side is up. Okay, so I'm just going to use my brayer here. And this is my brayer, so you remember what it looks like. Okay, just to hold everything down nicely. And this is a standard mat. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this into the machine. And I'm going to hit the load button here. Okay. And now we're going to hit the little scanning button here. Got to find my stick. There it goes. And I'm going to hit start. And we're going to go ahead and scan this so that we know where our little Happy Easter is going to go onto our heat transfer vinyl. Okay, so here is the vinyl, and here is my design. So we're going to pull it down onto the vinyl here, like this. Should be, whoops, make sure we don't get it too close there. All right, that looks pretty good. I think I'm happy with that. All right, so we're going to hit OK. And at this point, I'm going to hit please select. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about blades here for a moment. So on the Scan and Cut DX models, they had introduced the auto blade system. And I have struggled ever since they've come out getting very consistent cuts with, I'm going to bring out a couple blades here and I'll talk about this a little bit, with my auto blade. When you choose please select, and you have an auto blade in the machine, so there are 2 auto blades here, and the one I would choose if I was going to cut with my auto blade was this light blue one. And this is a 45-degree blade. This is what they call the vinyl blade. And I would choose this to cut this particular piece because it's quite intricate. This is a 60-degree blade, which is the standard black auto blade. Okay, so if I chose one of these, and we'll put one in so we can look at this. I'll just put the black one in. It doesn't matter. We're not going to use it anyway. I would choose please select and cut at this point. Then I would go in here and it says pressure auto. Okay. However, when you cut vinyl, you don't want to cut through the carrier sheet or the background, this shiny stuff. You don't want to cut through that because we need that to take our design over to our product to put it on. So in this case, with this blade, with one of the auto blades, you would choose on the second page here where it says half cut, you would choose on and cut pressure of auto. However, I found that a lot of my product was not cutting cleanly and all the way through every time. I've changed this number where it says auto, you can change this number. I've changed it to lots of different things. I never get the same results twice, it seems like. I've used this machine now. This machine's not new. I've had it for 5 or 6 years. I love it, but I do not love the auto blade half cut. So what I have found when I'm cutting heat transfer vinyl and adhesive vinyl, you know, the sticky vinyl, I have found that the best thing for me to do, and I get the same cut every time because I've been doing this for a long time, is I go back to my standard old blade that I set myself. And that is what we're going to do today. So this half cut, I'm leaving it off, okay? Right now I'm going to leave that off. And we're going to use this manual standard blade. This, to me, is the best way to cut vinyl. I've cut heat transfer vinyl and I've cut adhesive vinyl this way, and I get the same results every time because I know where to set the blade. And I'll tell you where to set your blade. There'll be a slight variation, but not a whole lot. So this is glitter vinyl. As you can see, it's fairly thick. I don't know if you can really see it on the camera, but it's relatively thick. And so the blade, of course, is going to have to come out a little bit further than, say, the adhesive style vinyl because it's much thinner to cut. So if you give me just a moment, I'm going to have a furry friend here that needs to go and get out of the way. So give me just a second. I'm going to pause the video for a minute and get rid of my furry friend. Sorry about that. It's about time for treats. So she thinks she needs to come up and get her treats, I think. So, okay. So we are going to use the standard blade. This is the teal colored blade that came in the original machines. There was a teal one and a purple one. Purple one is a 60-degree deep cut blade, and this is the standard 45-degree blade. Okay, so this is the one I'm going to use. What I have found with glitter vinyl, I'm using the same settings I've used ever since these machines came out, is I'm going to take my blade, I'm going to turn it all the way up past the number 12, and I'm going to bring it down until I get to between 4.5 and 5. Normally I've cut my glitter vinyl at 5. This particular vinyl is a little thinner for some reason, this pink that I'm using, and I found that between 4.5 and 5 works the best. So you can see I have it just slightly in between, and we'll do a test cut so we know for sure. So depending on your machine and your blade, you may have to adjust slightly, but I'm giving you the parameters that should help you. Okay, so between 4.5 and 5. And this is the standard teal blade. Okay, it's a 45-degree blade. We're going to put that in the machine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. We're going to go back here. Hit OK one more time, and I'm going to say, please select and cut. So I have my blade set at 4.5, and I believe that's going to cut. I cut one this morning earlier just to make sure that it was working okay, which it was. And that's normally where I cut these, is somewhere between 4.5 and 5. I am going to hit a test cut though. When I'm using my standard blade, I usually like to test cut just to verify that I'm okay. So I'm going to hit the test button. The pressure is going to be on 0 because this is manual pressure. Okay, so if I hit my little wrench, right now we're using cut pressure manual because this is a manual blade. The machine knows that, and it is on 0, which is where we want it to be. Okay, and I have a little test cut up here, which is going to be like a little square or triangle. I'm going to grab my little arrows here just to pull it down and over to the right here so that it will go over here on the side portion of my fabric, of my heat transfer vinyl, so that I can see it's going to do a little test cut over here just to verify that everything's okay. All right, so what it'll do is it'll do that first, and then it'll stop. Let me check it, and then then we can continue on and do the rest of the cutting. So I have my blade at 4.5 and possibly 5, depending on your machine. So just do this test cut and then you'll know. And if you need to do a second test cut, you can do a second test cut. So I'm going to hit start. Maybe. There we go. And it's going to do the test cut first. So it's just going to do that little square over there in the corner. I'm going to put my glasses on here and we're going to see if we can find the square. It's very difficult to see. But it's over here in this corner. And if you can kind of roll the stuff back, the heat transfer vinyl, you can kind of see it's right there. And that looks well cut. If I kind of turn the corner over, I can tell that it's tried to kind of cut through it, but it's not cut through. I can feel it, but it's not cut through. So I think that will be good for the blade setting at about 4.5. Okay. Make sure that's all pressed down nicely on there. And at this point, I'm very confident that this is going to cut well. So I'm going to hit start. And we're going to let this cut. So let me pull this back a little bit so you can see it cut. Hopefully. Now this is a pretty intricate, small design, as you could see. Where'd my little bunny go here? As this is cutting. This is what it's cutting. So you can see it's pretty intricate and small. It's about 2 inches tall, 2 3/4 inches long. So, but it does an excellent job of cutting. A couple of years ago, I finally just kind of gave up on the auto blade when it came to vinyls. And I love the auto blade for everything. I have no trouble with it, except with vinyls. And all of my vinyls so far, I use my good old trusty standard blade, and we're good to go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove this from the machine. The easiest way to get these off so we don't disturb the vinyl is to turn it upside down and peel the mat away from it like this. Okay, and I can tell it's cut. I can feel it in there, and we're going to weed both of these at the same time. So you probably, let me see if I can turn this just a little bit. You might be able to see it a little bit. So if you kind of push back a little bit, you can kind of see the edges of it. All right, so we're going to do all the weeding at the end. So, okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that over here. And let's go ahead and make our letters for the name we want. And I'm going to use my purple vinyl for that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this mat back in. And just so you know, if you cut a lot of glitter vinyl, you will need to replace your blade maybe a little more often because there's metal in it. You know, it's glitter vinyl. So I do cut a fair amount of glitter vinyl, so I have to replace my blade, you know, if I get cutting a lot of it. So, okay. So I'm just going to slip this on here. Any place is fine. And let's go get our design. Now, I would like to save this in my machine at the size I wanted it in case you have to do multiples of these. I'm going to go back a screen and I'm going to hit the save button, and I'm going to hit the little machine, and I'm going to click OK. And then it's going to save, and it's going to tell me you want to overwrite it, and yeah, I do, because I want it to be the size I wanted it to be for my bunny. Okay, so it's going to save, and then we're going to go on and we're going to make our name. All right, so I'm just going to hit the home button. And now to get our name, we're going to go into pattern. That's why I chose the machine. It's very simple to do these because then you can just go in, and there's a nice selection of lettering in here. And let's see, what letters should we use? I think I used one before that was kind of cool. It was down here. I think it's this one. So this FOA015. That's the one I'm going to use. And I'm just going to type out my name. So I'm going to type out Janice. So J, and then you take this off to do lowercase letters. You can do all uppercase letters if you want. Okay, so I'm just going to type the word Janice. I'm going to click OK. And then here, these are points. So like, I don't know how big points are, but it does give you the size and height and width here. So right at 1.31 is a little bit too tall for our bunny ear. So I kind of did a test before and I thought my name should be about an inch high. So I'm going to go ahead and click this. These will come down in aspect ratio again if I click this top button. So I'm just going to click this until I get down this to be 1 inch. I kind of overshot it, so we'll just go back down a little bit. It goes kind of fast. There we go. So it's 1 inch long, high, and then about 3.44 inches long. So that should be fine. I had measured my bunny ear and that should fit fine. Okay, so we're going to hit that. We're going to hit set. And there's my name, Janice. We also need this, of course, since we're still cutting on heat transfer vinyl, we still need this to be in, we need to have it mirrored. So I'm going to go ahead and edit. It's selected up here, and I'm going to click Object Edit and the mirroring button. These are already grouped because it's a word that we spelled out, so it's already grouped. So I'm just going to go ahead, mirror it. I'm going to click OK. And OK one more time. And then again, we're going to scan so we know where our fabric is here. Okay, so hit the Start button, and we're going to scan this so that we know where that is. Sorry, I'm still just a little hoarse, so I have to drink lots of water. Okay. So we have our fabric here, the design's up here, so we're going to have to grab our design and pull it down here onto our heat transfer vinyl. Again, it's mirrored. I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to click Please Select and Cut. We still have our standard blade that I have set at between about 4.5 to 5. Okay. And so we know that's going to work. The pressure is still at 0 because it's manual pressure. I'm pretty sure this is going to cut okay because we did our test cut before. If you're not sure, click the test button, test it with a little square just to verify. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine. So we've already tested it once. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit Start and let it cut out. And I think the one I'm doing is the same one I did on the bunny. Let's see. So this is what we're cutting. I think it's this one. Like this, those letters. I did another one that was pretty. This was a pretty lettering font. I did this one earlier. I was just playing around with some different fonts. So these are all right in the machine because these could be just really quick, fun projects to do for your Easter baskets. Okay, so let's see here. We're going to go ahead and unload the mat. And then again, I'm going to turn this over. So the easiest way to get these off the mat is to roll the mat away from your product like that. And I can feel where it's cut. And you probably can't see it, but I can see it just slightly outlined. And then I'm going to show you a little bit how to do some weeding here in a moment. But the weeding is a little easier on a lighted surface. So give me a second here. I'm going to turn the camera off. And since we're done with our cutting now, I'm going to go ahead and push the scan and cut back and get it out of our way here. And then I'm going to move some stuff over so that you can see me do the weeding. So give me just a second here and I will be right back. Okay, so we need to weed these, and you may not be able to see it too well, but I can really see a lot better with this. This is my lighted pad here, and it has like an LED light in it, and I have a little mat over the top so I won't scratch it. And I can see usually better the edges of my cuts with this because when weeding heat transfer vinyl, it kind of sticks to the background, to the carrier sheet. And you can kind of see it a little bit better on this side. But it's a little hard to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of push this back a little bit. And I know that my word Janice is like right in the center here. So we're just going to grab the corner. Now you want to be careful, especially with heat transfer or with glitter vinyl, because it's a little bit brittle. And don't pull too hard that you would tear one of your letters because it is just a little brittle. So I'm just going to weed this and I'm slowly pulling it off of the letters. So here's the E and the C. Be very careful. There's the top of the eye there. And then with the end, we got a little piece in there. So I did rip a little bit there, but I think it's okay because that'll go down into the A. So that you do have to be a little careful with glitter vinyl because it can rip a little bit. So just be kind of aware of where your letters are. So there's my letters. I'm going to get the center of my A out here. And the top of the A is just slightly open. That's why it ripped right there. And it was okay because I knew that was open. And then we need the center of our E out of here. I'm using a weeding tool. I love these weeding tools. I think I got these at Specialty Graphics. They're more like a dental tool, but they're very pointy at the end, so just be careful because they're sharp. I really love this as a weeding tool because it's easier to get a hold of these vinyls, especially this type of vinyl, because it has a little bit of a, it's softer and it's a little easier to get your tip into it and it kind of goes into it. So that's nice. Okay, so there's the word Janice for one ear. Okay, so there's the weeded version of it. That looks good. Okay, so now let's work on the Happy Easter here. So I'm going to do the same thing so I can kind of see where I'm at. And when you have one of these lighted pads, and I'll link this in the video description too. We have these on the Shield Sewing Center website. These are really nice for weeding. I use them for a lot of different things, but weeding is nice. Now this one you have to be a little careful because it's kind of intricate and you don't want to break or tear any of those letters. So I'm going to kind of come straight down on this one because I know the letters are kind of up and down this way. So I don't rip anything by accident. I think we're doing okay. It cut beautifully because you should be able to very easily. Now see, here's a little crook in one of the letters, so I can take my tool and pull that up. And again, there's a little crook in there. Okay. Take your time doing this. It's sometimes hard to weed letters because you can't always tell exactly where you're at because of course they're backwards. And it makes it a little harder, I think. Okay, so there's a little spot right up here in that little crook there. That's part of the H. And then there's the little crook of the Y. Okay, so I think we've got a little spot up in here. That I ripped, but I think it's okay because we're working on the center section now. All right, let's see here. I think, yep, that little piece is part of the Y. Comes down. And then this is part of the P right here, so we need to move over a little bit to get in between the letters there. Okay, and that's going to come down into the E. Looks like it cut beautifully. Okay, let's see here. I'm holding it up a little bit for me because I can't quite see. I've got a camera in front of me. So there we go. That's part of the H. And then there's a little spot in between the H and the A there, like this. Okay. And then there's a couple little round sections there. And then here go. So now we need the insides of the letters here. So we've got inside of the A, inside of the P. There we go. The other P. Okay, and then there's a little thing down here in the Y, at the bottom of the Y here, just a little narrow piece. We can get a hold of it. There we go. And then here we have the A and a little section in the E. See how beautifully that cut? And if you look at the front of it, it did not cut through all the way through. I can feel it slightly on the outside, but it did not cut through. The trick with this type of vinyl, we don't want to cut through this transfer sheet. We want it to be in one piece so we can put it on our product. So there's our Happy Easter. Isn't that cute? And this is a very pale pink glitter vinyl. I think that'll look really pretty on our little bunny. All right, so there's our weeded pieces for our bunny. And I'm going to go ahead, whoops, it looks like I got a couple pieces stuck on my name here, so we better get those off of there. All right, so there's our 2 pieces. So now the next part is going to be adhering these to the bunny ears. So I'm going to show you, there's several methods you could do this with. You could obviously do this with an iron. Since we're not going to be very likely washing this or anything, you know, doing this with an iron would be just fine, okay? However, I like to put my heat transfer vinyl on with I like to put it on with a heat press. And I do have a heat press. So if you only have an iron, you know, set it on your cotton setting. Make sure you have a hard surface to iron on, like a wool mat or something hard, not a soft surface like an ironing board. You need to be able to put a little pressure down. And then you can use your iron. I am going to use the heat press. So if you're gonna have to give me a few moments. I'm gonna have to turn on my heat press and let it. I've got it sitting next to me, but I haven't turned it on yet because it gets very warm, and I'm already too warm doing this video, so decided to leave it off until I needed it. So give me a few moments. I'll be back, and then I will show you how to do the heat pressing for your bunny. Okay, so I've got my little heat press warmed up over here. I have a Hottronics craft press. It's not a very big one. It's 9 by 12. Most of the stuff I do is pretty small, and I apologize, it does squeak a little bit. So what I do for the heat transfer vinyl is when you buy heat transfer vinyl, they usually send you a piece of paper that tells you what the temperature needs to be on it and how long you need to press it, and if you need to pull it warm or cold. So in this particular case, I know that this heat transfer vinyl works well around 320. So I have my little heat press set to go up to 320. And then I set the time at 20 seconds so that when I put this shut, you'll see that the timer will start. But I wanted to show you the temperature up here at the top. So every heat press is going to be a little different. And then the other thing that you do is this little dial here actually gives you the pressure. So the trick with the pressure is you want to be able to put like a piece of, I usually use one of these like pressing cloths. And then when you shut it, you want to be able to not be able to pull it out. So that gives you, then you know you've got enough pressure. So I've already adjusted my little heat press. Again, this is the Hottronics craft press. You can see it's a rather bright color pink. And I got it from specialty-graphics.com is where I bought this. And it's several years old, but I really love it. It's not ultra big. The 15 by 15 size is a really nice size, but I really wanted a Hottronics, and it was quite a lot more. So I ended up with the 9 by 12, but I do a lot of small things. So this is actually plenty big enough for most of the stuff I do. Okay, so I've got my little heat press all warmed up, and it is very warm, so keep your hands away from it, especially this top part up here. So we're going to work over here for a moment. And here's our little bunny. So I've got our little bunny laying here. Hopefully I can get this down just a little bit more so you can kind of see him. Okay, so here's our little bunny, and we're going to put the words on his ears. And this will make it real easy to either iron it with an iron, and you're going to use about the same temperatures for the iron. So the iron, you're going to put it up on the cotton setting, which is going to be about the same temperature. And then but you do need to put some pressure down on it and put a pressing cloth over the top so that you don't have any problems, because I'm going to put a pressing cloth over this as well. Okay, so I want to put the Happy Easter on this ear. Okay. So I'm just going to turn it over, and I'm just going to lay it down and eyeball it. This is my method so often. Sometimes I'll measure the centers and that kind of thing. And this is going to fit roughly in the biggest part of his ear. And just get it where you think you like it. So I think I'm just going to lay that on there. Okay. Press it down. Now this is nice because it's got a little bit of sticky on it. So it's going to hold down there nicely for you. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to slip him up. We're going to put his ear up into the heat press over here. Okay. We'll go do each ear separate because it's a little easier. Okay, so let me tip this way so you can see what I'm doing. So here's his ear. I'm going to put the Happy Easter up and just lay it on the side. And I'm just going to lay this little press cloth. This is like a heat press cloth. You can use just a plain cotton cloth also. This works really well, or parchment paper works well. So whichever you have, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to close my little heat press. And as you can see now, see it's counting down 20 seconds. And I'm going to leave it in there for 20 seconds. You're going to do the same thing with your iron if you're pressing down, but you're going to press down on it and put pressure on it on your hard surface. And when it comes up it's going to beep for me. Okay, we're going to open this up and then we'll take his ear out. Okay, now this heat transfer vinyl can be pulled either hot or cold, so it doesn't matter. You can just pull it right away. So I'm happy with the way it looks there. It looks pretty good. So we're just going to go ahead and pull it, and if it pulls off that easily, just like that, bam, like that, you know that it's well adhered to your ear. So there's our first letters. Happy Easter. Isn't that cute? On the little ear. Okay, so let's turn him over here. Get the other ear done. I just wanted to give you something cute and easy to put in that you could use your scan and cut for. I like making personalized items, and these have been, I haven't made these for a long time, and they're so easy and fun. The little bunnies, it seems like they were around $6.50 or something like that at Walmart, and I thought they were just really cute. So we're going to go ahead and put my name down here. Get it about where you want it. And, you know, if it's not perfectly straight, who's going to know? I like to do the eyeball method. It seems to work pretty well. So here's Janice. It is a little crooked, so I'm going to pull this end up a little bit. I usually have more trouble with the names, than I do the Happy Easter. It's more rounded. Okay, there we go. So there's Janice, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and turn him around here. Put his ear up this way. Lay him up here on the heat press and put his little ear in there. Put my press cloth on. Make sure I got the whole name up there. This one's going to be a little bit more tricky. We'll hang on to his ear. I'm going to bring this down again. Just watch your hands. Don't get yourself burned. And then it's going to count down the 20 seconds on the little timer. I do love this little heat press. I'm so glad I got it. It's very temperature-wise, it's very consistent, and I haven't had any problems with it at all. So if you're looking for a small heat press you can do some items on like this, this is wonderful. And it wasn't ultra expensive. Okay, so here's Janice. Okay, let me pull the camera this way so you can see. And we're going to go ahead and pull that off like that. Looks like it did a good job on both of them. So there's Janice on our little bunny. I'm so excited to get these done. I haven't done these for so long. They're so much fun to do. So here's his one ear, and here's my personalization. So personalize your bunnies for your grandkids, your kids, your friends. I love making Easter bunnies, and these are such cute bunnies. They have the little feet embroidered on the bottom. You could put the name across the belly if you wanted to, and I've done heat transfer vinyl even on the tummies like this, and you could put it across here. But then it's easier to do it with an iron because they're kind of big to put in the heat press. But the ears work really well in the heat press. They're just a little easier on the ears even with the iron, so that's why I decided to do the ears. Okay, so there's our little bunny. And if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. And also, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. It's free. You don't have to pay anything to subscribe, but then you'll get all the videos and you'll get notices when I put new videos up and stuff. So, okay, so here's our bunny, but I wanted to show you what I did with it then. I thought, you know, our basket needed a bunny. We'll set him over here for a minute. I thought our basket needed a bunny. So here's our basket with the little bunny in it. This is the first one I did. So here's the the little purple bunny. And here's my name on this ear, and Happy Easter on this ear. And I set him down in the basket with the eggs, and then he's got a little Russell Stover's chocolate bunny in there. So there's our little Easter basket, and we're going to make this Easter basket also in March. So there is a bunny. It's personalized to put in the little Easter basket that we're going to be making this next month. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the little personalized bunny with the heat transfer vinyl with your scan and cut. It's fun to use scan and cut for different things. I like to do some crafting, and I just thought he was adorable, and the basket needed to have a bunny in it. So thanks everybody. Have a great day.